Good morning, good morning. It is a Tuesday. We are happy to have you with us this morning. And it is a day when we get to talk about matters love. Love is a beautiful thing. And we say that it is possible for you to meet a good man, a good woman, and make it work. The how is what we talk about here. Talk about the good, the ugly, and everything about relationship and how to make it work. Each and every Tuesday, we appreciate you. Those who've been following us, those who are joining us for the first time, this is the place to be if you want to understand how to make love work. And guess who's back? I had to say this. Hey, it's been a minute. Today we have like the complete panel with us. And CJ Atemo. CJ, good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you as well.
Good to see you. Like hey, babe, I'm just happy, man, to have you. Bobby.
It's so nice to be back and to see how everyone is excited. It's like, oh, you guys, I missed you too.
You decided to disappear on us, but don't worry, we were in good hands. QT, but anyway, last week. Alitudanganya sana. You were misled. CJ, we're so glad that you're back. He was telling us that tuanze hiyo story ya Murang'a.
Mimi sema ukweli tu.
Tuanze hiyo story ya Murang'a.
Unajua Safina hapendi vitu venye ziko kwa ground.
Alituambia Murang'a like you can actually buy your way into you want to start children.
I know, right?
I'm still traumatized. In fact, guys, if you ask me how I'm doing this morning, I'm still traumatized. But CJ, how are you doing?
Very well, very well, very well.
Okay.
It's good to see Bobby. You know, Bobby pulled the fast one on us.
I know, right?
She pulled the fast one on us. I'm not talking to her still.
Guys, nimerudi.
Hey.
Like, to move on from here.
She's always
Sitawacha tena, I promise. I miss you guys though. I'm so glad to be back. It's always amazing to start the morning with you guys. Yeah, so I'm happy
Good to
be
have
here.
you. Good to have you.
Niko salama. I took a break. I was resting kidogo. So now I'm energized.
Good to have you.
Recharged.
And Luku imeweza looking at QT. Kama bana viatu.
Luku ni moto siku zote.
Anyway, guys, today we want to talk about, you know, self-worth, yeah? Ever been in a relationship or in a space, tuseme tu hivyo, like where you feel like you don't even deserve to say you deserve anything, you don't have a right to choose, like you are even more excited about being chosen to the extent that you don't even want to decide whether you want anything in that relationship, or it could be work, it could be a friendship or anything. Today we want to talk about if there is anything we want to achieve by, you know, us sitting here is to give you that, to empower you to choose what you deserve, what you feel is good for you. But then how do you do it? How do you do it? That's the conversation we want to talk about this morning. Settling for less, something that happens across so many relationships, what you want to discuss this morning. You can share with us your experiences at Safina_Cheng at Citizen TV Kenya on SMS 22422. And of course, I'm not alone. CJ on social media, where do you find
CJ Atemo.
CJ Atemo, QT.
QT Lady Josh.
QT Lady Josh and Bobby.
Roberta Bobby everywhere.
Everywhere.
I did LinkedIn.
Okay. So share with us your thoughts. We want to hear your experiences as we discuss this very important subject. So let me start with you, QT. Because
You just had to.
No. But najua uko na anyway. So today we want to talk about self-worth. In a relationship, you get to a space where you feel like it's no longer about you. It's like it's a one-sided kind of an affair. Where you go, it's about what the other person likes, what they do. Like, unajituma kupenda huyo boy child.
Does it have to be boy child?
No, it's because I'm talking to QT and she's a lady. So, unajituma by the way. Unafanya kila, ushaipenda QT.
Waze Safina. Safina kuona vile unakuza.
This time I'm doing it right. Like this time, umejituma, unasaka. Yeah, you can even set yourself on fire for this person. You're not even sure whether they'll rescue you or they'll appreciate that act of bravery. I mean, have you ever gotten to that space?
Yes, Safin, I have. And Safin, you're setting me up, but it's okay. Yes, I've been there. You love, you get to a point where you love someone. You actually feel like you love them more than you love yourself, you know. And for you to actually get there, you know, it's growth. It's part of the process. You cannot escape that because we learn. We learn through the process. And you know, Safin, in life, sometimes you don't get what you want so that you get what you deserve. Sometimes you might die for something. You might desperately want someone in your life, you might desperately want a certain position in life, but you might not get it. It's what you want, but you might not get it. But in the end, it's not what you deserve. But at that particular moment, you usually don't know. You're usually there like you're so desperate, you're crying, you're like, I want this. God, why are you not giving me this job? Why are you not giving me this man? You know, why are you not giving me this thing in life? And then later on, you come and realize, oh, that's why it didn't work out. Wow. Wow, God umecheza kaa wewe, you know, like I didn't deserve that. I deserved something so much better that was waiting for me. But you actually never, at that time you didn't know because maybe you're young, you're just trying to figure out life, you know, when you're 21, 22. The first time I was in love, Safina, I was 21.
Oh, I like where this is going.
I was 21, getting to college and all that, by the way. And then you're just there like you're happy. And then character just comes. And then you don't realize it's character. You don't even know what happened. And then you just break up with someone. I remember that time, Safina, I didn't eat, by the way. It's funny, but I didn't at that particular moment, you know. But after that heartbreak when I was 21 and all that, and I was in college, you experience all those things. You know, in college is the best life. You get to experience all the good things in life when you're in college because that's when you're learning, you're discovering yourself.
You make all the mistakes.
You make all the mistakes. You have the chance to make your life right. And I thank God I had to go through that because right now, Safin, I know better. I have to love myself first. I give myself 100 so that I'm able to love someone else, so that I'm able to give it out there, even at my workplace. If I'm not happy and I don't love myself, then I'm not going to do a proper show on TV or on radio. I'm just gonna be, you know, gloomy and dull and all that. So I need to love myself, Safin. Give myself 100. You deserve, you see the love that you give 100 freely to other people. You see the energy that you give out to your workplace and everything. You deserve all of that, Safin. And I think that's where we go wrong. Like you love someone and you tell someone, you actually say, I'd catch a bullet for you, you know, I'd take a bullet for you. I'd catch a grenade for you, but who's behind that gun, you know? It's someone that you truly love. And they say someone can stab in the back. And it's not about being stabbed in the back. It's who is behind that knife, who is behind that gun, Safin. Because at the end of the day, love yourself 100%. Give yourself those things that you want to give to someone else. Imagine you deserve them because you will love someone else. And in life, they say, you actually need to get someone who loves you. When you're getting in a relationship, get someone who actually loves you. Because if you're the one who loves, that's what they say. Wanasema hivyo, if they say that if you love that someone, you're the one who's gonna always end up getting hurt. And Safin, in a relationship, hakunanga 50-50. You know, I love telling Safin the truth because in a relationship, hakunanga kituka 50-50. Let's not lie to each other, Safin. You're with someone because there's something you're getting from them. They're with you because they're benefiting from you. There's something they're getting from you. So it's never 50-50. So please make sure. Even if, hata kama ni at least 60-40, try to balance.
But when you benefit more.
I mean, Safin, unataka nifanyaje? Siwezi sema ati mimi ndo niko hapo niko na 80%. Nimechoa.
Naangalia vile mtu ukaa kwa TV.
Don't you find her a bit selfish? Not even a bit. Don't you What happened to unconditional love? Like, we usifikirie ati nini. You give your best. You love this person. Jitume, penda mtu.
Unconditional love ni ya mama.
Thank you.
Na watoto wako. Hata beshte yako hawezi kupenda unconditionally. It's just how it is. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that that's how we are as human beings. We're very symbiotic. It's input, basic input, output. Ukinijaza na kujaza, tunajazana. The authenticity comes in where it's very reciprocated. Si ati ni one-sided, mtu mmoja peke yake ndo ana point to this relationship. But turudi kwa self-worth kidogo. I think I'm always an ambassador of getting to know yourself and loving yourself more, because the more you point to yourself and get kujijenga, the more you get to know yourself better, the more you can show up more authentically for other people and for yourself and in other spaces. And something I've been realizing when I think about self-worth is that ukizaliwa, you are self. And then the more you go through life, when you go through trauma, vitu experiences, you start wandering farther away from self. Because if someone hurts you, now you can't trust. If you lose someone, now you've been through grief. If you lose a job, now you know what it feels. You see, you go through all these things. You lose friends, you make new friends, you move places, you move schools. Like, life happens to you. And the moment you become an adult, now it becomes your sole responsibility to start bringing yourself back to self. Lazima sa uanze kujirudisha ile place yenye you are able to be childlike. You don't have those trust issues. You're not scared of grief anymore because you have been through it. Now you know better how to navigate it. I mean, it's different every time. Every traumatic experience is different each time. But like, when you become an adult, this is where now you have to take responsibility and have to remind yourself, I used to be confident. I used to be able to speak. Nikitoka parade, nilikuanga naimba wimbo. Saizi I'm an adult, I'm 27, I'm scared. When I go to parties, I hide in the corner on my phone. And it's because of the experiences you've been through. Maybe sometimes someone embarrassed you in public. Maybe sometime people were spreading rumors about you. Now you don't want to be seen. Maybe you went through something that induced anxiety in you. But sasa, like I was saying, once you become an adult, you have to take accountability and responsibility and realize that you're in charge of your whole life and everything that happens around it. You're the one who gets to control and create whatever comes from you. And you have to start showing up in that self. And something that makes it easier for you to realize your self-worth and have more confidence is kujijenga, kujipenda, kujichoose, kujichagua. Every time. Improve yourself. In the smallest ways, it could be what you eat, the people you talk to, how you speak, how you show up, how you dress, how you do your hair, how you wear your makeup, how you wash your hands. In the very simple things. Once you start creating value towards yourself, unaanza kuona, mina vanga poa, mbona mtu aniongelesha hivyo? And it's not about ata hizo nguo ama we kuvaa poa. It's about the worth that you put towards yourself. Yeah. So now if you ingia a relationship, if you had wandered so far from self, ukiwa kwa relationship and you've been working on your self-worth, you're able to realize when someone is taking you for a ride, because you'll see, mi mwenye sijitreating hivi, me, I'm a good communicator to myself. I regulate my emotions. So why would someone be rude to me, or why would someone be mean to me? You're able to catch such things the more you continue working on yourself. And even if you go, say, to a job where you feel like your worth is not being matched or anything, you're going to be able to communicate and regulate everything. So the more you work on yourself, the more input you put into yourself, the output just shows, and everyone has to match your frequency to be able to deal with you, because your self-worth is high.
And it takes work.
Yes.
And it's progressive.
Yes.
But CJ, how do we merge what Bobby has said and what Cutie was also saying? That, you know, she's painting a picture of somebody who really needs to work and build what they feel is what they deserve. And Cutie was also talking about, think about what's good for you in every equation that you're finding yourself in. How do you balance that and the fact that sometimes life is about compromise, sometimes love is about compromise, that you will get to circumstances whereby it's not just about you 100%. Right. You have to give a part of or let go some things. How do you balance that? It's
not even that sometimes life is about compromise. All the time.
Okay. Yeah. That's a
all
good
the
question
time.
you asked.
But I needed to say something about what Bobby's saying. One of the biggest challenges that some people will face is even to define what loving self is. When we talk about, you know, loving yourself and building yourself and growing yourself, sometimes they don't even know what that is like. They actually think that they do love and appreciate themselves, because some of those things are inculcated in us through cultural beliefs, religious beliefs, socialization, and different things. So you'd find somebody who would go to a shop and look at a dress that they need to buy. Then they think, no, I don't think I should spend this money on me. There's nobody who is trying to put them down, but their belief system is that is too high, that is a bit too extravagant. And so you would be defining that and saying, you deserve it, and they can afford it. But then they're looking at it from their belief system, and they feel that's just too much, that's too high, that's too extravagant. And they believe they need to be very either modest or moderate or something. So the definition of what this love means is also a very personal thing. There are people who will feel that they are loving themselves is actually staying, for example, in a relationship or in a workplace. They will say, I'm doing this for me, because of how they define it. So people have got to come to the place of, first of all, defining what is it that loving me looks like,
Yes.
so that then they can do it right. Because it's the same thing like if I want to love Bobby right, I've got to know what that means to her.
Yeah.
If she doesn't want to be all over the place, and then every weekend I'm saying we're going out, she won't feel loved, and I will be feeling like you're frustrating me. I'm doing all of this for you, and she's like, I don't need that. I just needed us to spend time in one place.
Or money. They can send you money.
Red flag.
Money aside.
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest challenges that some people have. And they have never heard anything about even loving self. There are those who have grown up knowing that your life is about serving others. It's about empowering others. It's about reaching out to somebody else become better. If you're privileged, you live out your purpose by making other people get up to your level. And so for them, even as they do that without anybody else trying to put them down, they believe that is how they fulfill their life and have the joy around it. And they don't think that there's anything wrong with them. They're completely satisfied. Using the analogy of the dress, I had somebody, a speaker, talking somewhere and talking about how they went into this place and the shop steward saw his wife, and he just figured it out like immediately and picked a dress and it perfectly fit. So the man was so excited because this looked very good. And the lady stands there and she says, I can't wear this because if people don't like me already, what will they say when they see me dressed up like this? Like, so now she was allowing other people's opinion to begin to affect how far she can go.
Yeah.
And how many times then do we do that, where you will rob yourself of something that you can do or afford?
People say.
And sometimes it's not even from people externally. Sometimes it's even the fear of the family. You've come from a background, what we call humble backgrounds, and then you're beginning to make it in life a bit, and you feel, I'd love to go on a holiday, I'd love to do this, but then there's this guilt tripping. How can you even go there and you know that your family is in this particular state? So there are many things that make people behave the way they behave, and they've got to come to the place where they literally define that. I think the balance is you asking yourself, what does that mean to me? What does it mean to me? What does love mean to me? For somebody else, it's spending on themselves. For somebody else, it's just spending time with themselves. For somebody else, loving themselves is actually connecting with other people. It is a very personal definition that I think we have.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so Cutie, do you think that sometimes, you know, when you're single and you're in that space where you're looking, you're open, you're trying out to, mingle and all that. There's usually that standard you set that I will only settle with a man who is like this, chocolate, what? That list sometimes, ikienda sana, inaenda ikipungua. Do you think sometimes, pressure can push you to let go certain things that you feel you deserve, you really want, but because of the circumstances you find yourself in, you forgo those?
Even as you get older, Safin, I mean, the checklist, you stop having a checklist.
But it's right. When you're talking about self-worth, then self-worth means you know what you want, you know what you deserve. So if you are 20 and you thought that the kind of person you deserve must be, that kind of a person who has money, is built, whatever, that list that you set for yourself. God-fearing. Hey, God-fearing.
God-fearing. Muhimu sana.
And then as you age, you start letting, does it change?
It does, Safin, because the man that I wanted when I was 21, or I thought I wanted, was not the man I deserved, actually. I was like, what was I even thinking? What was I even doing, you know? Because when you're younger, it's totally different. There are certain things that you want. There's excitement that comes with it. You know, you start even looking for tall, dark and handsome and all those things. Imagine it figures a point they just end, Safin, and you're just like, you know what? I want peace. I just want peace, peace.
Now, isn't that settling for less?
No, it's not settling for less, because, Safin, you'll realize tall, dark and handsome does not give you peace in the house sometimes. Sometimes does not give you peace in the house, sometimes it gives you peace in the house. So basically, it's what you want. Safin, there are people who want money, there are people who want peace, there are people who want love, there are people who want care, and you can't get all that in a man. That's the truth of the matter. You can't get all the perfect features in a man. So what you do, you have to look at the pros and the cons. The things that I can live with. I've gotten a man that has this, that I want, but there's this one thing that I don't like about him, but can I live with it? That's the big question. Like, it's all about sacrifice. As we've said, it's all about compromise. You have to compromise some things so that you get other things that you want, Safin. So I can decide, okay, I want a peaceful man. So if this man is giving me peace and he's hardworking, it's not about the money, Safin. You need to decide what you want. As a woman, personally, I need to decide, okay, I'm going to choose this. Wanasema heri ulie kwenye, ama ulie kwenye. You decide what you want. Sitaki kusema brands and everything. But it depends with what you want. So, Safin, personally, I look at what I want. So if this man has these particular characters, and there's this one thing that really bothers me, I'd be like, you know what, I can live with this. That's not settling for less. It's actually, it's not settling for less, because you cannot get a perfect man or a woman, or you cannot get a perfect human being. Hata mimi niko na flaws zangu.
Are you not sinking into that space?
You're not settling for less. Hapana, you're not settling for less. Unajua?
Hakuna perfect man.
Safin, hakuna perfect man, hakuna perfect woman. Both ways, it goes both ways.
From tall, dark, handsome, financially stable, nini, those things we put to bora peace. Isn't that settling for less?
I'm going to say that I think the things people chase are superficial. That's why it might feel like it's settling, because you could get a guy who's not as rich, but he's very emotionally available. He's an amazing communicator. He's very romantic. He's very thoughtful, very caring. And just because he's not as rich doesn't mean you're settling. It just means that you're, like what CJ was talking about, the things you place value in, ndo zina matter. Na kama ni superficial, basi utakuwa una settle if in your mind you're not getting what you want, but you're like, let me just chill for this. But I think that people should always date up, especially women. You should always date up, whatever up it looks like for you. Let me explain further. Let me explain further.
People should always date up.
Upwards, especially women. Especially women. And I mean, whatever you place value in, that's what you should always improve on. Kama ni hiyo do, kama ni hiyo venye anakutreat, kama ni venye anacommunicate, kama ni venye anakuongelesha, the more umezoea kudekezwa kuongeleshwa vizuri, I promise you, someone who's not a good communicator will not attract you. You'll not be able to go back. Now that's settling. Ati ukaina mse, chali yangu, ex wangu alikuwa ana communicate, uya communicate lakini ni mhot. It's about where you place like your values about your value system.
Roberta, what will change? Unaweza mfunza.
Well, kama unataka kukua kindergarten. But you see, even the thing with settling, you're absolutely right. People, especially when you have emotional intelligence, you start to realize that change is very inevitable. And if you put yourself in a situation where you settle, even there, changes will happen. And you have to be okay with like flow with the moving times, but it has to be intentional growth. You people have to be very intentional about growth. That's why communication, na vituka respect, na friendship ni very, very important. And I mean even in the workplace, not just in romantic relationships or even in a relationship with your parents. You people have to take deliberation very seriously. So I say that settling comes in whatever you place value in, whatever you place value in. If it's the money, if it's the communication, if it's whatever it is, because you could easily upgrade, but to some, sisi wengine tunaweza sema yeye chali yako addressingi poa amechapa, but wendo unajua this man is very friendly, he's amazing to you, he treats you so well, he makes you so happy. So this is why I keep going back to Historia self-worth.
Yeah, it begins with
work on yourself. When your boundaries are very, very strong and your standards are very, very high, you stop noticing superficial things. Nani haendeshangi sijui gari. Vitu ka hizo, it's nice, it's good, but at the end of the day, what kind of people do you want to surround yourself with? Are they people who are respectful, people who love you, people who care for you?
Okay.
If you place value in the personalities and who people are, especially with even themselves before they are with you, it makes more sense. And wacha tu ni repeat your line tena mara mwisho. Especially for women, always date up.
Date
All the
up.
time.
Unasikia Safina hata ukuacha nimalize. Unasikia ushaambiwa.
Unasikia maneno hapa date up. Lakini CJ, how do you, I wanted to talk to two groups of people. Those who get into a relationship hoping that this other person will change. It could be a woman or a man, yeah? Let me just, at a change, we will learn on the way. They will learn how to love me. They will learn how to, you know, spend quality time. What a change. Then there are those who started out well as a couple. And then this person just ended up changing and they're no longer giving them what they want in that relationship. But this lady or this man is telling themselves, let me just, he used to be good. Let me just stay. Maybe he will come back to his senses. The man could say, oh, she used to be nice. Maybe one day she will go back to the lady I married. Speak to those two people in terms of their expectations and in terms of whether what they're doing is even right.
Whether it is right or not is difficult to tell. But you see, both of them are hanging on hope. They're both hanging on hope. The one who gets in and feels that this person can become better, there must be an aspect of this person's life that has attracted them, and they really want it. So they're hoping that the other areas will also be aligned to the place where they can work around it. So maybe what Bobby was talking about, maybe they found somebody who's very communicative, but then they have quite a number of things. Part of that communication is lying. So they're just hoping that as we go on, they'll stop lying. Oh.
But do they ever stop?
So you see, they're hanging on hope because there's something that is so attractive in this person. The strengths of these people are so strong that they wouldn't want to let go. And maybe sometimes it's because of what they've dealt with also in the past. Like they didn't have that. So that is very attractive to them. But then they notice other things and they feel this is not as bad as what I've dealt with before. So if we can work on this, then it will get better. The problem with hanging on hope is when you are the only one who is expecting a change, because probably the other person
That's what I want you to do.
does not feel they need to change. If they don't feel they need to change and they think that they're all right, then that hope will give you an expectation that eventually will turn into your disappointment. It's important for us to understand that, you know, you can't change people. And it is very, very, it's very flimsy when they change for you. They need to change for themselves. They need to want to change. They need to feel that they want to become better people. They need to feel that how they are right now is working against whom they want to become, not just for you. Because when somebody changes for you, whenever there's an issue between the two of you, they'll go back into their default system. Or when they're done with you, they go back into the default. Then they'll always keep on doing that. They'll also get tired. They'll get tired because it's not genuine. It's not coming from within them. And they will fake it around you. So it's important for the other person to want to change. That's where communication plays a role. That I love this about you, but then there's this other issue, and this is how it makes me feel. What do you think you can do about it? You can initiate the conversation, but the other person has to initiate the change. You can't force them. If you do that, especially when you try to do that with men, it's going to backfire. It will. It will. So you can initiate the conversation, but they need to see it. They need to see how that affects you, how that affects them, why they need to do that, because probably they haven't seen it from that point. They've not known that it either hurts you. If you have children, maybe it's hurting the children. When they come home and they don't talk, they're coming in late and leaving early, they're never present. Sometimes they don't even know that. They'll be thinking, you know, but I pay the bills. I'm paying the rent, I'm paying school fees, so I'm taking care of my kids. And some of them don't know that those children need them to be there, emotionally available, physically present, visible and accessible. Sometimes they don't know that as well. So you can initiate the conversation, but don't try to initiate the action. That has got to come from them. Now, when you raise it up as an issue, do not also try to push it that it has to be tomorrow. Because if somebody has been in a certain way for 25, 30, 35 years, you're not changing it in 35 days. You're not going to put them on a calendar and say, now from today, in the next 30 days, you must have changed this. There are a lot of things. Change is not the easiest thing for anybody to initiate. Some people fear change. Some people are slow to change. Some people do not see the need for a change. Some people embrace change, but then at different paces. So you've got to also understand, how does this person relate with change? And what are you challenging? You might be challenging something that has been their norm forever, and they've seen everybody else accept it. Then they now begin to wonder, so why is it a problem with you? My father was like this, and my mother coped with it. My uncles are like this, and everybody coped with it. So why is it a problem to you? And they begin to doubt your intentions. So it has to be a whole conversational thing. If it is something that you cannot live with, you cannot keep on having the hope that this person will change. That's where you count. What Kitty was talking about earlier, and you were saying, isn't that settling for less? No, it's counting the cost. It's being able to say, if I lose this investment, I'm still okay. You know, the way when you get into a business, you're asked, how much money are you willing to lose? So if you can't lose 2 million, don't put it into the business, because there's a possibility of you losing that. So can you live with that? If you can't live with it, then don't get into it. For the ones that have been in a certain space before, then somebody has changed. They probably have got to nearly similar situations, but you got to go back into, at what point did the rain start beating? What could have brought about this change? Is it because they're growing in age, they're meeting different people? Do they have different friends or networks? Is it what has been hidden in them that is now being exposed? Is it that money came in and then money is beginning to show who they are? Have they gone through a traumatic experience? Were they affected by something else? Was it a loss of a loved one that you didn't imagine would affect them the way it affected them, and then this just hit them? There's always a cause to why there is a change of course. And sometimes we want to assume that. So you think they went through a loss of job, everybody's losing jobs. But then how it affects this person is very different. Maybe this is all they've always wanted to do in life. Or you'll be thinking, this person is 35. Why is he so affected by the loss of a mother or something? And he's a man. Men are not supposed to feel something. But you realize there's a part of him that has been completely crushed. And then now he's beginning to look for this mother validation elsewhere. So if we pay attention to people around us and begin to try to get to know, why has this person moved from whom they used to be to where they are at? And teachers do this with children in school. They want to know why the performance dropped. Now, when you're already in the relationship and you know that this person used to, he used to score A or B and they've gone down to D, there must be an issue. They didn't just wake up and start scoring the D. There's an issue. There's an area, something is affecting them, something is troubling them, and you might need to try and get to know what exactly is going on with them.
Yeah. Cutie, there's also this space that somebody sometimes gets into where you feel like you're responsible for that relationship. You would apologize for the mistakes that are not even yours. If they're no longer scoring an A like they used to, they're scoring a D, you feel like it's because of you. Maybe you didn't do something right, or maybe, just talk to somebody who could be feeling like that, that, okay, I have my standards, I know what I deserve, but I feel like, pia mimi kuna mahali, sikufanya vizuri. Is it always that way, or sometimes it's just about the other person and them not showing up for you as a woman or as a man?
I think, Safin, the problem comes in when you give someone the power to define what your self-worth is. If you give the other partner the power to actually define everything in that relationship, that's when you start feeling worthless, you start feeling like you're not enough for them, you start apologizing for mistakes that you didn't even do, because you always feel like you have to please this person because you've given them the power. You're the pilot to your life. Take charge, take control. As we've said, take that pen and actually draw your life, because at the end of the day, you define your self-worth. You define yourself, Safin. If I say that this is what love means to me, then I need to get that love from that other person. Because the mistake that we mostly do is that you let that other person define and say, by the way, this is the way you're supposed to be loved. Hata ufai kuvaa hivyo, hata ufai kufanya kitu fulani. You see, when someone starts talking to you like that and you allow that, Safin, now that becomes a problem, because if someone can define what you wear, how you walk, how you look, how you eat, what you eat, then now you'll start getting approval for them and from them, actually. That's a problem that we actually start. So what I'd say is I'd like for you to actually take that self-control of your life. Yeah. Don't let anyone define for you what your self-worth is. Because if you do that, you'll start feeling worthless. And, you know, we are human beings, and human is to error, because sometimes you might start making someone feel like you're like a remote control. You're controlling them like, this is the way you should do. This is ABCD, dress like this. No, don't wear that dress, Safin, today. You need to wear a longer dress or a shorter dress. You know, they start defining, oh, that wig does not look good on you, or those dreadlocks, you need to cut them off, and all those things. So when someone takes charge of your life, now you'll start feeling like you're not worth it. Ni kama sifai kufanya kitu fulani, ni kama sifai kwenda job place fulani. Unajua, someone tells you, you need to stay at home, you can't be going to work, I'll be sorting out everything. The minute you start staying at home, Safin, you'll see the other dark side of someone. So the best thing in life is, do not let someone define anything for you in life. It's your life. You've been given that life by God. You've been given that power by God, you know. So if you give someone else that power...
How do you balance that? Especially when you're in love. You know that somebody just sweeps you off your feet. You're not even thinking. Like, life is just about this person that you've met, yeah? It's about the two of you. This person has to come into your space somehow. They have to change a few things about your life. How do you balance that and pull that self-worth card still?
Safin, they say love is blind. See, that's what they say. Yeah. They say love is blind. That's
even been forced to wamekosana na familia zao.
Yes.
Just because this person doesn't appreciate them or something. But because of love, huyu mtu ameamua kama ni familia wacha ikae kando. How do you balance?
Safin, as we've said, when you're getting into a relationship, you need to look at the pros and the cons. Imagine put that someone on a weighing scale, because if you don't do that, look at the things that I can live with this, I can compromise A, B, C, D, E. But E, F, G, H, I cannot compromise, you know. So once you actually do that, when you're weighing someone, look at the good stuff about him. If the good stuff is 8 and the bad stuff is 2, I mean, that's good, you know. But if the good stuff is 2 and the bad stuff is 8, now that's a red flag already. Because, Safin, for you to come in my life and for me to actually stop talking to my parents, stop talking to my family, my friends, to everyone around me, that's already a red flag. Because, Safin, I cannot just... there are things that you might compromise in life or in a relationship, and you say, okay, this one I'm going to stop because of this person. Yeah, okay. I'm going to stop these certain habits because this person does not like them. But you cannot stop everything, Safin. You cannot stop at 10. Try to balance in between 5, you know, 5 and 5. At the end of the day, compromise 5, then work with 5, or compromise 2, you know. But you can't compromise everything, and I think that's where we go wrong. Okay.
All right. We just want to sample some of the, you know, SMSs we've received, and then Bobby, as we wait for that, you can just weigh in on this. You know, you talked about starting with self and, you know, really working on yourself to know what you really deserve. But at what point, Bobby, do you allow them in, allow that other person to also influence a few things about you from Bobby's point of view? Ama wewe ni team. It is me, it is me.
You know, something I've been realizing as I grow and as I heal is that the more I work on myself, the more I attract people who are similar to me. Meaning the kind of people I date, they believe in the things I believe in. In some sort of way, we think the same or in the same direction or something. So if you're working on yourself, then it's very difficult to sit around with someone who's not doing any sort of work on themselves. kutakuwa na hiyo friction because you'll have to always ask them, text me, call me, remember my birthday, nini. Like you have to constantly, utafeel nika una compromise kila saa nika una settle. But the more I work on myself, the more I'm in rooms with people who are just like me, the more I date people who are just like me. So most times the people I talk to, they're also working on their self-worth, they're also working on who they are as people, how they show up in their relationships. Okay. So it's not me forcing them. CJ said, you can't make someone, you can start the conversation, but you cannot make them change. And there's something my mom tells me, it's maybe CJ can help me, Draco Corinthians something. Love is. It says love is kind, love is patient, love is hizo words zote. Nimesahau zote lakini. So this is what my mom told me to use when I'm trying to your grading system, your QT. Think about insert their name there if it's Roberta. Roberta is patient. Roberta is kind. Roberta is love. So you start to see, is Bobby patient with me? Is she kind? That kind of helps you define love so that even when you're fighting, even when you hate each other, even when you're angry, you can still trust that the feelings they have towards you are of patience and respect.
Allow me to just take a few messages that we have received this morning. That we welcomed you to be a part of the conversation. So this is what you're telling us about the subject we're discussing this particular morning. We have one there saying the challenge with women is that they expect men more. They expect more for getting. They too should give. The man also deserves even emotional support. Men give up later. Okay, I think you just need to really understand how you want to be treated, plus the things you want first. Second, learn the same from one around you, and everything will be good to go. Okay, thank you, Clarence, for that. Nowadays, love is about interest. If someone loves you, is about material things you have and the potential in you to gain. So it's all about what you want to get materially. Thank you for that. And we have one from Steve. You say, after going character development, I discovered that I better love myself. Yani, it's so unconditional. Hey, Steve, for the character development, okay? So those are some of the few messages you've shared with us. Of course, courtesy of time, we may not be able to sample all of them. And also, I'm told we are pressed for time. So this morning, we'll not be able to have a final round of remarks. But we appreciate your time. We do this every Tuesday. Do join us next week right here on Citizen Television. Daybreak is the program. My name is Safina Achieng Oma. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day.